Not long after Jesus died and came back to life, the church grew. There were some believers who needed food and special care. Peter and the apostles made a plan for how to help these believers. The 12 apostles gathered all the believers together, and they chose 7 men who were known to be wise and full of the Holy Spirit. Stephen was one of the 7 men chosen. He was said to have the face like the face of an angel, and he helped care for the new believers and made sure they had everything they needed. Some people tried to start arguments and fights with Stephen. But the Holy Spirit gave him wisdom to answer them. Stephen's enemies couldn't make him angry, so they began telling lies about Stephen. They said he had spoken against Moses and God. This made the religious leaders very angry, so they arrested Stephen. Brought him in front of a gathering called the Sanhedrin. They would be his judges. They found people who were willing to tell lies about Stephen, but even though Stephen was being treated so badly, he didn't look upset. He was determined. He knew God was with him. He wanted the leaders to understand that Jesus was the one they had all been waiting for. He was the Savior whom God had promised. Stephen started to tell the story of God's people. He talked about Abraham and Joseph and how God's people were slaves in Egypt. He told them of everything God did through Moses to free the Israelites and bring them to the Promised Land. He spoke about King David, who loved God and wanted to build him a beautiful temple. Then Stephen told them about Jesus, God's Son. It must have taken a lot of strength and courage, but Stephen did not back down. He said, "You have handed Jesus over to his enemies. You have murdered him." This made the leaders very angry. Just then, Stephen looked up and saw a vision of heaven, with Jesus standing at God's right hand. He knew that God was with him. The religious leaders covered their ears and yelled in order to keep from hearing another word. They ran and grabbed Stephen and dragged him out of the city. Then they began to throw stones at him. Last words showed the love of Jesus.
"Lord, don't hold this sin against them."
When he had said this, he died, but Stephen knew it wasn't the end because he would be able to live with Jesus in heaven forever.